Hey everyone, REDyTay here, and welcome to another Pokemon challenge. Beating Pokemon Blue with a single Dratini may have started slow, but things really fell into place later on thanks to Dratini's Dragon typing and its well-rounded TM list. This challenge might be interesting due to our Pokemon's typing, but the moveset isn't going to have as much variety. Today we're going to see if we can beat Pokemon Silver with a single Mantine. Mantine, in my opinion, has an interesting type combination. It's water flying type, which gives it a lot of resistances, but it comes with some major weaknesses. We resist fighting, bug, steel, fire, and water. However, we're weak to rock and, more importantly, electricity, which hits us with 4 times damage. Fortunately, electric types aren't heavily represented in this generation, so our typing might make this challenge easier. Possibly. Stat-wise, Mantine isn't bad compared to some Pokemon we've used in other challenges. Its base stat total of 465 is higher than others we've seen. Special defense is clearly its best stat, but I really wish it had more offensive power and slightly better health. As for offensive capabilities, we only learn 2 special type attacks, and only one of them is decent. Plus, we don't get wing attack until level 40. Looking at its moveset, we're really lacking in good attacking moves. Takedown doesn't seem like a good option for us either given our stats. Fingers crossed this TM list will help. It's more the same, but we can work with this. I appreciate the addition of some ice moves, but the fact that we don't have any flying type moves in the TM list is wild to me. Surf and Headbutt look like strong additions though in my opinion. I'm taking on this challenge because I feel like Mantine doesn't get enough attention, and I'm not sure how well it performed throughout the entire run, but based on this overview, we have some significant advantages as well as some frustrating limitations with this moveset. So let's dive in. But first, we gotta talk about the rules. I can only use Mantine throughout the entire challenge, and I can use other Pokemon for HM use, but only for getting around. No glitches or hacks can be used to progress, and I'll be sticking with my trend of not using items during battle, only held items given to Mantine before the battle starts. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure what to expect from this challenge, so let's get started and see how it goes. We're starting the challenge as we always do by getting our first Pokemon from Professor Elm. I used the Pokemon Randomizer to replace Cyndaquil with Mantine. Honestly, there isn't an ideal Pokemon for a rival to have in this challenge. We have the advantage over both Cyndaquil and Chikorita, so this run will be a water versus water type matchup. Now for the nickname. Manta Ray, Stingray, Man Ray, Tampa Bay Rays, although I'm not a big fan of that team, so no way. Remoraid, REDyTay? REDy. That has a nice ring to it. Let's go with that. Looking at REDy stats, they're fairly even, though we can already see that stat distribution we discussed earlier. At the moment, we only have Tackle and Bubble, but I think we can make decent progress with this moveset for now. That includes getting a few extra levels before the first rival battle to ensure we're in a good spot. And honestly, we need those levels. There isn't much to say about the first rival battle. Totodile resists Bubble, so the entire fight boils down to spamming Tackle. Sure, we're dealing damage and staying ahead, but we're taking damage too. By the time we knock out Totodile, we're left with only 7 HP. If we had gone into this battle level 5, we probably would have lost. Sure, we got a first try win here, as usual, but this battle highlights the importance of maintaining a level lead throughout the challenge. Then again, who am I kidding, I always need an early level lead in these challenges. As expected, we head to Bellsprout Tower next. We're doing well here since Bellsprout's Vine Whips hardly scratches us, making it an excellent place to grind for experience. The Hoot are a bit more annoying because they're surprisingly tanky, but we still manage to take them down without too much trouble. With Bellsprout Tower out of the way, it's time to take on Faulkner. I don't think this battle will be difficult. We are not weak to flying type moves, and we're completely immune to Mud Slap, so this looks promising on paper. Both Pidgey and Pidgeotto have lower special defense than defense, so we spam Bubble throughout the fight. While it's not super effective, it still does decent damage. On the other hand, they don't deal much damage to us, so we secure a pretty easy win overall. For our efforts, we received the Mudslap TM, but I don't think we'll need this for the run. This is a nice change, considering we usually rely on moves like Mudslap for the hikers in Union Cave. However, we have Bubble, which while weak, is all we need to deal with the rock ground types. We breeze through Union Cave without much trouble, and the same can be said for Slowpoke well. While we don't have super effective moves for the opponents here, our level advantage and decent stats make it easy to clear the competition. At this point, we're probably ready to take on Bugsy. Being part flying type helps, since Bugsy focuses on bug moves. My main concern was whether we could hit hard enough to stop Scyther from building up a Fury Cutter streak. Metapod is barely worth mentioning. Bubble doesn't hit particularly hard, but Metapod can't do much to us either, so we win this exchange while staying at full health. We even level up and learn Bubble Beam, a much needed boost in firepower. Bugsy sends out Scyther next, it's faster and immediately sets up Fury Cutter, but unsurprisingly it only deals 1 damage. To reduce the odds of a Fury Cutter streak building, I have REDyTay use Supersonic, and it immediately pays off with Scyther hurting itself in the next turn. After that, we switch to attacking with Bubble Beam. The first, and only one, lands a critical hit, one-shotting Scyther. That works too. Lastly, Kakuna comes out. The only real threat here is getting poisoned, but Bubble Beam is strong enough to one-shot it as well. This wasn't a particularly scary battle, but learning Bubble Beam came at the perfect time to secure the win. Now let's see how we fare against our rival. Ghastly is a one-shot with Bubble Beam. Zubat, almost one-shot with Bubble Beam, but hangs on with a sliver of HP. Thankfully, its Supersonic misses, allowing us to finish it off with Tackle. Croconaw, first we confuse it with Supersonic, and it spends several turns hurting itself while we chip away with Tackle. It eventually lands a few scratches, but by that point it's too late. We win shortly after. With that victory, we officially move on to Goldenrod City. While there, I make a quick detour to pick up Headbutt. We need a stronger physical move, and the chances to flinch is a bonus, though our low speed might limit that effectiveness. Next up is Whitney. We heal up and head straight into the battle. Clefairy is an easy one to take down thanks to 2 Bubble Beams. Miltank though is more of a challenge. As expected, it goes for rollout, but the first attempt misses, giving us a great start. Bubble Beam deals decent damage, but Stomp is much scarier when it lands in the next turn. Another Bubble Beam gets Miltank into yellow health, so things are looking up, but we need to be cautious as rollout begins to connect. To play defensively, I try to confuse Miltank with Supersonic to break its rollout streak. Unfortunately, the first Supersonic misses, but rollout also misses in the next turn, so we're still in good shape. On the following turn, Supersonic lands successfully, and things get tense when Miltank's Stomp leaves us in the red. But we get lucky, Bubble Beam lands and finishes Miltank for good. We win on the first try. Well, that went pretty much according to plan. A first try win against Whitney is always a great milestone, and now we're making some solid progress. I don't think Morty will be an issue in this challenge, especially since we take the time to battle the Kimono Girls and obtain the HM for Surf. We'll replace Bubble with Surf, giving us a powerful stab move, and with the special split in Generation 2, the Ghastly line's low special defense means Surf should make Morty's gym a breeze. And it totally did. Surf one-shots everything on its team except Gengar, who goes down after 2 hits. Luckily, both Gengar's Hypnosis missed, giving us a clean no-damage sweep. Even if Hypnosis had landed, I think Surf's sheer power would have still ensured our victory once we woke up. Interestingly, this might be the first time I've beaten Morty before taking on the rival in Ecruteak City. In hindsight, I should have just used Surf right away in the battle. On my first attempt, I opted for Bubble Beam against Honor, which dealt decent damage but failed to knock it out. Honor retaliated with Curse, and while it took itself out, the Curse left us in a bad spot for the rest of the fight. Magnemite landed a Thundershock, pushing us into the red, and the subsequent turn of Curse damage finished us off. Lesson learned. On the second attempt, I started with Surf, which easily one-shotted Honor, removing the Curse threat entirely. Against Magnemite, I opened with Supersonic to confuse it. While it managed to hit a Thundershock through the confusion, we stayed in the green and Surf took it out in one shot. Zubat was another Surf one-shot, leaving just Croconaw. Here, I switched to Headbutt, which paired well with the flinch chance. Even without flinches, our damage output with Headbutt outclassed Croconaw's Bite, securing us the win. Surf's power is proven to be a massive asset. For the first time in one of these challenges, I feel confident about the upcoming gym battles. Even though I'm still battling everyone in the Lighthouse to maintain the level advantage, I think we're in a solid position. Chuck is rarely a problem, and this run doesn't seem like it'll break that trend. What's really exciting is that Jasmine might not be a roadblock this time, or should I say, a steel wall. With Surf on our side, I think our team will be much more manageable than usual. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. First, let's see how we fare against Chuck. We kick off the battle against Chuck by confusing Primeape with Supersonic, and then it immediately hurts itself in confusion. From there, Surf makes quick work of Primeape, knocking it out in one hit. When Poliwrath comes out, we stick with Supersonic to keep up the pressure. Following that, we start spamming Headbutt, which works surprisingly well. Poliwrath flinches or hurts itself in confusion on several turns, and its Hypnosises keep missing. However, the battle takes a turn near the end when Poliwrath lands a dynamic punch. Thanks to our typing, it doesn't do much damage, but it does confuse us. Things get a little dicey as we take another dynamic punch, and we hurt ourselves in confusion, bringing us down to yellow health. Up until that point, we hadn't taken any damage, so this was a bit of a wake-up call. Thankfully, we snap out of confusion just in time and land one more final headbutt for the win. That was closer than I expected, but it's always nice to see Chuck put up some resistance. It wasn't a complete sweep at least. Now it's time for the Jasmine fight, which I think will be tougher but still manageable. We start strong, landing a critical hit surf on Jasmine's first Magnemite, knocking it out instantly. Turns out the crit wasn't even necessary, as the second Magnemite also goes down in one hit of surf. So much for needing the Paralysis Cure Berry. Now it's time for Steelix to step up. We're faster, and since Steelix is par ground, Surf takes it out in one shot as well. We never even get to see Steelix's strategy, even though it's probably just going to be spamming Iron Tail. This is a really odd run since Jasmine ended up being easier than Chuck. Both are first try victories, but Jasmine's battle was also a no damage sweep. It feels long overdue, but it's so satisfying to utterly demolish Jasmine's team for once. Next up, we head east to handle the Lake of Rage, Team Rocket, and Price. Against Price, Seal goes down after 2 surfs, and its Icy Wind barely scratches us. While flying types are weak to ice moves, our part water typing cancels that out, so ice isn't much of a concern. Icy Wind does lower our speed, but let's be honest, Price's team is slow enough that it probably doesn't really matter. Dugong is up next, and we switch to Headbutt while it hits us with Aurora Beam. We stick to our moves, and thanks to our better damage output, we win this exchange while staying in the green. Finally, Piloswine comes out, but it doesn't even stand a chance. We outspeed it, and 1 surf is all it takes to knock it out. With Price down, we only have 1 badge left, but as always, Team Rocket decides to interrupt our progress by taking over Radio Tower. This time, it's weird having Professor Elm call us while we're in Mahogany instead of Olivine, like in most of my challenges. Still, this is always a great spot to rack up experience, which we need more than usual in this run. The badge run has been smoother than most of my previous challenges, so we're slightly underleveled compared to where we're normally at this point. Of course, the real litmus test for how we're doing is the rival battle at this stage of the game, so let's see how that goes. We kick off the rival battle strong by one-shotting Golbat with Surf, and Magnemite follows the same fate. Honor is up next, and it's no surprise that Surf continues its streak of one-shots. The same goes for Sneasel, but with its low special defense, that was pretty much expected. Finally, we face Feraligatr, and while Surf doesn't one-shot it, Headbutt does great work thanks to flinches. However, I made the mistake of thinking that confusing Feraligatr would be a good idea here. In theory, it's not a bad plan, but Supersonic takes 4 attempts to land. We end up taking damage from Bite during that stretch. While we're still in the green, it's definitely not the most efficient part of the battle. Thankfully, Feraligatr hurts itself in confusion on the next 2 turns, which allows our wing attacks to finish it off. That battle went pretty smoothly overall, but I'm not letting my guard down for Claire. As a water type, I know Claire's team is going to prioritize Thunder Wave, and getting paralyzed could make the fight much tougher. To prepare, I make some adjustments. First, I replace Supersonic with Icy Wind, which we got from defeating Price. While it's not the strongest move, it's still an ice type attack, meaning it will deal super effective damage against Claire's Dragonairs. I also give REDyTay a Paralysis Cure Berry to counter the first Thunder Wave we'll face. These changes help, but they're not enough to secure a win. Icy Wind doesn't one-shot the Dragonairs, which leaves us vulnerable to Thunder Wave. The Berry cures Paralysis the first time, but once we're paralyzed again, it's a permanent problem for the rest of the battle. Being paralyzed slows us down too much, and we can't take down all 3 Dragonairs. Even if we manage to reach Kingdra, we simply don't have the tools to overcome it in this condition. At this point, it's clear we need to grind. REDyTay is sitting at level 47, so we decide to aim for level 50 before trying again. Reaching level 50 gives us a good opportunity to evaluate how REDyTay is shaping up. There are no changes to the moveset, but the stats are looking much stronger now. 4 out of the 5 stats are in the triple digits, which is significant improvement. The special defense stat stands out. It's been high for a while, but now it's crazy high compared to the rest of the stats. That said, I'm not thrilled about the attack stat. It's lagging behind, which is unfortunate since we're still using some physical moves. While it's not a major issue right now, especially with the focus on special attacks like Icy Wind, it's something we'll need to address if we want to stay competitive against the Elite Four. For now, though, the plan is simple. Our improved special attack and Icy Wind is going to be all we need to secure the win against Claire. Let's see if level 50 makes the difference. Grinding paid off because Icy Wind is hitting harder now, though the first hit being a critical hit might skew that perception a bit. The second Dragonair survives with just a sliver of health, proving that Icy Wind isn't quite a guaranteed one-shot. After we get hit with Thunder Wave, our Paralysis Cure Berry takes care of it, but we're still at risk of being paralyzed again. Luckily, we almost knock out the third Dragonair, and it only manages to hit us with Slam before going down. This is the best position we've been in facing Kingdra so far. When Kingdra enters the field, Headbutt doesn't accomplish much due to our lackluster attack stat, though flinching could make it worthwhile. Test an Icy Wind seems to hit harder, though we're immediately met with a Dragon Breath that paralyzes us. Of course. Now slower than Kingdra, we get hit by Hyper Beam, but we're still in the green. Icy Wind manages to land, dropping Kingdra's speed stat and leaving it in the red. While Kingdra recharges for Hyper Beam, we have the perfect opportunity to finish it, well, except for fully paralyzed. Because of this, Claire capitalizes by using a Hyper Potion to heal Kingdra back up to full health. Which makes me wonder, does the AI know when you're going to be paralyzed? Why didn't Claire heal up during Kingdra's recharge turn? Maybe she predicted we wouldn't finish the battle then and chose to stall us with a heal instead? Anyway, in this battle we're back to square one. We land another Icy Wind, dropping Kingdra's speed stat again, but we take yet another Hyper Beam in return. Another Icy Wind makes the battle more even, and we get another speed drop. Amazingly, the drop stacks so well despite being paralyzed that we now outspeed Kingdra. One more Icy Wind puts Kingdra back in the red. This time, during its recharge turn, we managed to land the finishing blow, sealing the win and earning the Rising badge. Now it's time to focus on the Elite Four. It's hard to gauge exactly how prepared we are for these battles, but here's the breakdown. Will, he's a toss-up. We don't have any glaring weaknesses to his team aside from Executor, but most of his team takes neutral damage from us. This will come down to smart play. Bruno, well, this one should be a breeze. Part of his team is weak to water, and the rest are weak to flying, so we have great coverage for him. Karen, that's similar to Will. Most of her team takes neutral damage, however, we do have a solid counter for her biggest threat, which is Houndoom, which is a relief. Lance is our biggest concern. One of his Dragonites knows Thunder, which is a major threat. While we have Icy Wind to deal with his dragons and Surf for some of his team, Lance's Pokemon are tanky and they can dish out some serious damage. Outlasting him will be a challenge. By the time we face Survival at Victory Road, we've reached level 53. Surf proves to be the MVP once again, one-shotting his Sneasel, Magneton, Golbat, and Kadabra with ease. That just leaves Feraligatr, and Wing Attack chips away at it, taking about a third of its health while it sets up Rage, which isn't too threatening. Another Wing Attack brings it close to the red. Feraligatr counters with Slash, but it doesn't do much damage. A final Wing Attack knocks it out, and we claim victory. At level 55, REDYTay's attack stat is finally breaking into the 80s, but the real star is its special defense, nearing 200. This bulk is likely to be the key in surviving this gauntlet. The rest of the stats are solid, but our defense tankiness feels like the cornerstone of our strategy. Starting off, Will opens up with his weaker Xatu, which falls just short of a one-shot from Icy Wind. Xatu responds with Psychic, but thankfully it doesn't do much. A Headbutt finishes it off. Jinx comes out next. We opt for Wing Attack, bringing it into the red, but it counters with Lovely Kiss, putting REDYTay to sleep. Luckily, Jinx wastes turns with weak double slaps and Psychics, and when we wake up, another Wing Attack secures the knockout. Slowbro is up, and its bulk is a challenge. Headbutt barely dents it, though the flinching helps. Slowbro uses Amnesia, but since we're relying on physical moves, that's not a major issue here. It eventually attacks with Psychic, bringing us to half health. After a few more headbutts, Slowbro goes down, though not without putting us in a precarious spot. The stronger Xatu comes out, and Icy Wind is our go-to move. It survives the first hit and retaliates with a Psychic, leaving REDYTay in the red. Will heals Xatu with a Hyper Potion, and we chip it back down to low health. Unfortunately, a quick attack finishes us off before we can even secure the win. The second attempt starts much smoother. Icy Wind one-shots the weaker Xatu. Against the Jinx, we switch tactics, opening with Surf, which deals about the same amount of damage as Wing Attack. However, we still get hit with Lovely Kiss, and during another nap and a few double slaps before waking up to take Jinx down with a Headbutt. Then Slowbro comes out. It's Deja Vu with Headbutt being the best, albeit slow, option. This time Slowbro's Amnesia and Psychics leave us in even worse shape than the first attempt. Xatu is still a huge threat. Icy Wind brings it into the red again, but instead of being finished by Quick Attack, we hang on and retaliate with Headbutt, knocking it out. And that just leaves Executor. Wing Attack gets Executor to yellow, but it retaliates with a devastating Psychic, dropping REDYTay to 14 HP. With Will not healing, we outspeed and land another Wing Attack, securing a very narrow victory. That victory shows how tight these battles will be. REDYTay's tankiness is invaluable, but battles against bulky or fast opponents will demand careful strategizing. But now it's time to face Koga. Wing Attack almost takes Gyarados out of the fight, so close, but it only uses Double Team, which does nothing to stop our follow-up Headbutt from finishing it off. Fortress withstands wing attack surprisingly well. Again, forgot we have a lackluster attack stat. It wastes a turn with spikes and then forces us to waste one with protect. We hit it again with wing attack, and looking back, I'm not sure why I stuck with that move. After taking a little damage from Swift, we finally knock it out with Surf. That's more like it. We stick with Surf when Muck comes out. It does a good job dealing damage, but Muck survives and raises its evasion with Minimize. Luckily, our next Surf lands and down goes Muck. We're now level 56. Crobat is next, and Icy Wind is the obvious choice. The speed drop is a nice bonus, letting us attack right away. Crobat easily goes down. For some reason, Koga decides to save Venomoth for last. Another potential one-shot opportunity with Surf. It deals massive damage, but Venomoth hangs on with just a sliver of health. That's okay, because Koga doesn't heal it, so one more headbutt seals another Elite Four win. A first try win there is great for momentum. Not that we need much of a confidence boost going into our Bruno fight. Mantine was made to destroy this team. And destroy them we did. Don't get me wrong, we still have the same attack stat as before, so even though wing attack is super effective against the fighting types, it doesn't guarantee an easy one-shot. It didn't for Hitmontop or Machamp at least. And yikes, Machamp's Rock Slide made this battle scarier than expected. For the other Hitmons, wing attack was a one-shot, and Surf did the same for both Onyxes. An easy fight overall, and now we move on to Karen and her not-so-scary Houndoom. Umbreon is still deceptively bulky, so Surf only takes out about half of its health. The sand attack we get in return is not appreciated, but for now another Surf lands and takes Umbreon out. Gengar is next, and Surf remains the move of choice. It's not a one-shot, but it hits much harder this time. The problem is we get stuck with Curse. At least Gengar is out of the way though. What we really need now are some good one-shots to improve our chances. Murkrow goes down easily to Surf thanks to his Sport Special Defense, no Curse damage here. Houndoom follows, and for once we have a type advantage. Surf one-shots it, leaving us surprisingly at full health when we reach Vileplume, even with the Curse active. Wing Attack is our best option. Wait, why didn't I use Icy Wind here? Wing Attack isn't a one-shot, so we take Curse damage. Great, and then we get paralyzed by Stun Spore. To make matters worse, since I'm doing this challenge at night, Moonlight heals Vileplume up even more. At least it doesn't bring Vileplume back to full health. We take a little damage from Petal Dance, but manage to get lucky and land another wing attack to secure the win. I'm loving these first try victories, but can the streak continue with Lance? Nope, unfortunately not. The first try did not go smoothly, as we struggled to figure out the best way to deal with Gyarados. On top of that, we ran into trouble when we got paralyzed by one of the Dragonites. After that, we had horrible paralysis and accuracy luck, which meant we couldn't take it out, and it used a couple of Hyper Beams to knock us out instead. Still, I think we can win this level, so let's try again. We start with Surf for Gyarados. Yeah, it doesn't do much, but we stick with it since we don't have a good move to handle Gyarados anyway. Because of that, getting hit by Hyper Beam feels inevitable. But in the long run, we're winning the damage race, and we land a headbutt to finish this exchange. We took a decent chunk of damage from Gyarados, but we press on. The tide must be turning considering the first Dragonite goes down from Icy Wind. Thank God half of Lance's team is 4 times weak to Ice-type moves. The second Dragonite is able to hang on after an Icy Wind though, but its Thunder Wave misses, which is extremely lucky for us. Surprisingly, Lance doesn't heal and down goes the second Dragonite. Aerodactyl could still be a threat, but things are looking up with its Rock Slide missing. Icy Wind is still a great move, especially with the speed drop. That allows us to attack right away on the next turn with Surf, bringing Aerodactyl down. Now the level 50 Dragonite is up. Icy Wind doesn't one-shot it, but it's really close. And yikes, the Hyper Beam it just used puts us in a really tight spot. I'm honestly surprised Lance isn't healing up in these situations. Oh well, we've taken care of all the Dragonites, and now it's just Charizard. We're faster than it, so it doesn't even get a chance to attack, thanks to our Surf completely wrecking it. The battle was still a bit close, but we secured the win in the end. Well, now we're Pokemon champions, but we all know this is only the halfway point in a way when it comes to Generation 2 games. We still need to earn all the Kanto Gym badges, which that's not really worth mentioning except for the last one, and then we have to beat Red at the very end of the game to truly say this challenge is complete. In the meantime, I managed to get the item Leftovers because extra healing each turn is always a benefit. Now let's get into our battle with Blue. Level 67 now, and Pidgeot leads, so we start with Icy Wind. I'm really loving how often this move lowers our opponent's speed. Wing Attack doesn't do much to us, and we knock Pidgeot out with another Icy Wind. Next up is Alakazam, which doesn't have the best physical defense. That being said, we don't have the best attack, so Headbutt is still a little lackluster. Well, the second Headbutt does knock it out, and it did more damage than its sidekick, so we're still doing really well in this fight. Rhydon is easy to deal with thanks to Surf, though its slow moving health bar kept it interesting. Gyarados is up next and we still don't have a solid answer for it. Icy Wind doesn't do much and we get hit by a Hyper Beam. Let's see how Headbutt does. That's a little bit better. It helps that Gyarados wastes a turn having to recharge, and then on the next 2 turns we force it to flinch with another Headbutt. Gyarados almost goes down, but Blue uses a full restore. We stick with Headbutt, and the flinch luck is still holding strong. Eventually Gyarados gets a chance to attack, and it hits us with another Hyper Beam. That's okay though, we're still in the green. I thought we were about to put Gyarados away for good, but nope. Here comes another full restore from Blue. We switch gears and use Wing Attack, and Gyarados responds by dealing very weak Hydro Pumps. It shouldn't come as a surprise that we're dealing more damage here, and we finally get Gyarados back to red health. Blue doesn't heal this time, so we can knock out Gyarados for good. We move on to Executor. Wing Attack does a lot of damage, and we take Executor out in the same move the next turn. Our Surf is now weaker due to the Sunny Day it set up before we took it out, but I think we're going to be okay. The situation does benefit Arcanine, which is now out, however it's not using a fire move, it's using extreme speed instead. Surf is hampered here, so it doesn't score a one-shot, but it still hits really hard. Arcanine's second extreme speed brings us into yellow health for the first time in the battle, but it's too late for Blue to capitalize on it. We use one more Surf on Arcanine, effectively winning the battle. Okay, that went smoothly for the most part, but I have a feeling this is one of those challenges where things won't be easy when we face Red. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually afraid of Pikachu. We're 4 times weak to electric moves, so I have every right to be scared of it. On top of that, if it uses Charm, our physical attacks are basically ruined for the rest of the battle. This is the first time this Pikachu has been a brick wall in any of my challenges. Once we start battling Red, it becomes very apparent that I was right to worry. Sometimes Thunder one-shots and sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't miss often, and I feel like it paralyzes us more than it should. I try using Headbutt early in the battle hoping for a flinch, but it doesn't really happen. While we might be at a nice level for most of these battles, let's face it, we're under-leveled for this fight, and we need to take this more seriously. I don't think I've ever gone into the Red battle at this level before. So, we grind against wild Pokemon and we revisit the fight at level 75. Pikachu is still a problem, but we're performing much better at this level. We had one instance where Headbutt took Pikachu down to half health and made it flinch. Our second Headbutt took it out, and we moved on to Espeon at full health. Now that's a great start. Of course, we have more problems to deal with now. Espeon is faster and sets up a Reflect, which could be problematic. However, Surf is a solid option for the time being, and it takes Espeon down in a couple of turns. His sidekick packed a bit of a punch though before it went down. Now it's time for Snorlax, and when is this thing not a problem in my challenges? Espeon's Reflect really complicates things. Sure, our opening Headbutt caused Snorlax to flinch, but look at how little damage it did. Surf does considerably more, but of course Snorlax counters that plan with Amnesia. We switch gears and go back to Headbutt. Sure, it does a little damage, but the flinching is useful. Okay, it's not really happening. Mainly because we got paralyzed by Body Slam, and in the next turn, we get knocked out. This battle has a lot of obstacles preventing us from winning. We always go down to either Pikachu, Espeon, or Snorlax. Pikachu's Charm, Espeon's Reflect, and Snorlax's Amnesia all really hinder us. Pair that with the high damage and paralysis combination of Thunder and Body Slam, and a win just doesn't seem possible. So, more grinding it is. We really don't have another option. At level 80, I wish I could say there were improvements, but there really aren't. I'm sure we're hitting a little harder and defending a little better, but in the end, we aren't getting past Snorlax, so we're not really seeing results. So what do? Even more grinding. At level 85, we are now at a higher level than Pikachu, and sure, we have some room to level up, but I don't know if we can get the win here. On our first attempt at this level, we get off to a great start by taking no damage from Pikachu. Our first Headbutt caused a flinch, and the second one took it out, just like that battle I previously mentioned. Espeon also starts the battle being subjected to our Headbutt, but it doesn't cause a flinch, which means we get hit with a Sidekick. It doesn't hurt much, and things keep improving with our next Surf, which is strong enough to take it out. The pause in the health bar dropping was suspenseful, but it turns out Surf hits just hard enough for the KO. So no Reflect to worry about, and we still have a lot of health before Snorlax. Hopefully this great spot can carry us here. We're faster obviously, and since Amnesia hasn't been used, we attack first with Surf. The health bar gives me so much anxiety in these battles with how slowly it's falling. The Snorlax is still in the green when our attack is all said and done. It opened with Amnesia, so now we have to change strategies and go for Headbutt. At least Snorlax is in the orange, but we need to hope it doesn't use Rest. Body Slam is scary too, but no paralysis this time, so that's good. Our next Headbutt hits, but Snorlax is still in the yellow. but Snorlax flinches, which means we can use another headbutt for the knockout. Oh, come on. Oh, that was close. And, oh, look, there it is. Snorlax used rest. Okay, this is going to get frustrating. While Snorlax is asleep, I have REDyTay use Wing Attack since it is physical and it's stab, and we're not looking for a flinch in these instances for the next few turns. We do get hit by Snore, but it barely does anything, and Wing Attack is doing well considering we get Snorlax yellow health in those 2 turns it's asleep. Snorlax then wakes up and hits with a Body Slam, and again, no paralysis. So we use another Wing Attack and wait to see if this is enough to finally bring Snorlax down. Okay, it is. We're still holding up pretty well after the first half of this battle. Now we just have to deal with the first generation starters. First up is Blastoise, which makes sense since this one would be the toughest for us to beat. Wing Attack probably only took a quarter of its health away, if even that, but its Blizzard does even less, I feel like. Yeah, we might be flying type, but we're also part water, so there's no type effectiveness there. Also, our special defense is great, so there's that. Looking back, I probably should have used another move besides Wing Attack, but we're still using it, and Blastoise is still in the green. Blastoise isn't changing plans either. Its Blizzard finally brings us into the yellow, but Leftovers brings us back to the green, so we're still okay. Another Wing Attack brings Blastoise into the yellow, and its next Blizzard misses. We keep going with Wing Attack and it lands, but falls just short of knocking Blastoise out. At least it doesn't have rest. It just keeps spamming Blizzard, and we have another instance where we fall into the yellow and then get healed back into the green with Leftovers. Red doesn't heal here, which is surprising to me, and we use one more Wing Attack to knock out Blastoise. That might have been long and drawn out, but the last 2 Pokemon shouldn't put up much of a fight. Charizard is easy to deal with since we're faster and we can one-shot it with Surf. Venusaur is a similar story with Wing Attack. It doesn't one-shot though, but since Venusaur just wastes a turn using Sunny Day, you already know this battle's over in the next turn thanks to one more Wing Attack. You know, this challenge was actually one of the easier ones I've done. I didn't really see that coming. Water and Flying is a decent type combo, but I feel like it outperformed my expectations. I know that these non-evolving Pokemon challenges are hard to gauge because many of them have decent stats from the get-go, but Mantine's stats are not mind-blowing or set to make this challenge to be a cakewalk. And yet, most of the badge run was really easy, and some of the people we usually get stalled by in these Generation 2 challenges didn't even phase us in this run. This was a fun, light challenge and I hope you enjoyed it too. For my next challenge, I'm doing a Spheal only challenge in Sapphire. It's going to be a celebratory challenge to ring in the new year. I'm also in the process of playing through Pokemon Yellow to commemorate its 25th anniversary release in the United States. If you want to check that out and maybe share what the game means to you in the comments. In the meantime, feel free to check out some of my other challenges, and don't forget to like and subscribe for updates and leave comments about what you enjoyed, what challenges you'd like to see in the future, and any suggestions for improving these videos. I always appreciate creative input. Thanks for watching everyone, and until next time, Geronimo.